everybody, welcome to what is going to be a playlist of tutorials for absolute beginners, those who want to learn to crochet and have never done it before. So in this first video I'm going to be showing you how to do a slip knot just to get you started, and the chain, the very first thing you need to do when crocheting. And I'm just going to be using some DK light worsted weight yarn. This is a yarn weight of 3. This is actually a Happy Berry yarn. And I'm also with that going to be using a 4mm G crochet hook, okay, which looks got a little hook on the end. So let's begin. The first thing you need to do is a slip knot. That's to get your very first stitch, your very first loop on your hook, basically. So even though it's not technically crochet, it's a knot, I think it's a good thing to learn. I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to take my tail end, and the tail end is basically the bit that's the end, the tail end, and I'm going to drape that over my 4 fingers like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the yarn around these 2 fingers like so. I'm just going to wrap that round, okay. Then I'm going to turn my fingers and I'm going to cross this yarn over the top. I'm going to cross it over. Then I'm going to use these 2 fingers to just hold that into place, okay, just holding that into place. So I'll show you that again. So you want your tail end, this short cut end in front, then just hold that with your thumb and then wrap this around your 2 fingers, top 2 fingers, turn over and then cross that over your other piece of yarn and hold it in place with these 2 fingers, okay. So you end up with like this cross. Then we're going to take our hook. We're going to put our hook underneath this first piece of yarn, okay. So make sure you've got a nice clear cross. If you start doing little crosses like that, you can sort of lose where the cross is. So bring it over so you can really see the cross. Put our hook underneath the first piece of yarn. Then we're going to twist our hook down to hook this second piece of yarn that's going over the top. We're going to hook that underneath the first piece of yarn like so, and that is basically it. So what you've got to do now is just use your thumb just to hold that bit of yarn on your hook, and then we can just let go of everything else. Just let it all go and then let go of holding that loop and just pull your tail ends, and you see it creates a little knot. And then to get that knot up to your hook, we just pull the yarn we're actually working with like so, okay. And there you have a slip knot, and you can tell that's a slip knot because if we take it off, when you pull the yarn it just pops open. So there we go. So I'll show you that again. So we drape the tail end, that's what we call the tail end, in front of our 4 fingers, just holding it there, wrap it around our top 2 fingers, turn over and cross it over that other piece of yarn and hold it in place with these 2 fingers. Then we take our hook and we go underneath the first piece of yarn, twist our hook because we're going to hook that top piece of yarn underneath the first, okay. Then we hold that onto our hook. Then just get your fingers out and let go of everything. Just let go of everything. Just bring that down if there's anything caught in the way. Turn your hook back up. Still got that loop. You can see the knot there. If you just pull it, it'll create a little knot. Then we pull our non-tail ends, the yarn we're working with. We pull that to get it up to our hook. And there we go. There is a slip knot all ready to go. There's our first loop on our hook. So the second part of this first absolute beginner tutorial is the chain. That's the next thing you want to learn when you're crocheting. There are other ways of beginning a crochet project, but for beginners we always pretty much start with a simple chain. And I'm not going to teach you how to hold your hook, because some people hold the hook like this, like a pen, and some people hold it like this. I actually prefer to hold it this way, but it does not matter how you hold your hook or your yarn. Even though people like to teach you how to do it, it really doesn't matter. You've got to do what's comfortable for you. You will develop your own technique that's comfortable for you. So I happen to hold my yarn though in these 3 fingers, just to keep a little bit of tension so it's not moving around, and I tend to hold my hook this way up just so I've got this finger free to hold my little loop. Okay, so to make a chain, what we're going to do is we wrap the yarn over our hook. Now when you wrap the yarn over your hook, you want to wrap it this direction. So if you were looking at the end of your hook like that, you would be wrapping the yarn in an anti-clockwise direction. Some people go the other way, but I find it's much better to go like that, wrapping it round an anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so try and remember to do that. So and what I tend to do is I use these fingers just to hold my tail end, and that just keeps this under control, so it's not sort of doing this or all the way up here. So use these fingers to hold this in place, especially at the beginning when you haven't got much to hold on to. So I'm going to put my hook underneath, so go under, always go under your yarn. Okay, and you're going to hook it, so you're wrapping it around like this, you're wrapping it round, going under, and then using these fingers just to hold this into place. It actually helps to just slightly pull down to open up this loop. Okay, so you want a nice fairly tight loop. You don't want it too baggy, but you don't want it too tight, so you just want it able to move up and down your hook, and then just use these fingers just to pull it down, because if you do that, when you pull the yarn through, you hook it through, it just helps to open up the loop. So we've wrapped the yarn around our hook, or we've hooked the yarn underneath. Then what we're going to do is we are going to twist our hook down. We're going to twist our hook down. See, it's facing up at the moment. We're going to twist it down as we come through the loop, because that really helps to bring the yarn through. Okay, so we're going to twist our hook down and then bring that, pulling this down with these fingers, and then just bring that through the loop. And as we come up, we're going to twist our hook back up. And there we go, that is a chain. There's your very first chain. And it's many people refer to as a V shape, because you've got a sort of V shape appearing. If you take the loop out the way, you've got these bits of yarn there. It's hard to show you actually with my fingers. You've got there and there. It creates like a little sort of V shape of yarn. And you basically repeat that. So now you've got a little bit more to hold on to. And again, we wrap the yarn around our hook anti-clockwise, or another way of saying it is to go underneath. And then we're going to twist our hook down. So it's facing up at the moment. We're going to twist our hook down, just pull down with these fingers to open up that loop, and then bring that through the loop, and then twist our hook back up. And there we go, there is our second V shape, our second chain. And we just continue that until we have as many chains as we need. So again, we go underneath. So you're wrapping it around anti-clockwise, but another way of saying it is go underneath. Use these fingers to pull open that loop, and it also helps hold it in place, otherwise you just end up doing this and it gets really hard to control. So we're just going to hold on to it with our fingers, go underneath, twist your hook down, pull down to open up the loop, bring it through the loop and twist your hook back up. There we go, there is our third chain. And if by accident it comes off and you don't know which way to put your hook back in, because you might put it back in this way, an easy way to remember is make sure you can see all those V's to the front, and with your loop flat, your hook always goes in front direction. Okay, front direction might help. And we just continue like that. So again, we pull down to open up that little loop, go underneath and pull through. Let's create another chain. So that's 4, we've done 4 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Underneath, come up so I can pull that loop down. 5. underneath, pop through, 6. And I'm always moving my fingers up so it's near the loop, so I can pull that loop open. 7, underneath, 8, underneath, 9, underneath, 10. And there we go. We've got 10 chains, and each chain is a little V. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But don't worry, sometimes in the beginning you may find that your work ends up sort of like a bit like this, where you start off seeing some V's and then you might see the back instead, where you get this sort of shape. But don't worry, it will come in time with practice, and you'll end up with a nice smooth chain. So just keep trying to do it slowly, and I find that just using this finger to hold the loop and these 2 fingers just to hold the project to open up that loop to bring it through really helps. Okay, so in my next video I'm going to move on to showing you the single crochet, and these tutorials are going to be in US terminology. There is a difference with UK terminology, but don't be confused with it don't be confused by the accent. I will be showing you how to crochet using US terminology, which means you'll probably understand a lot more patterns that are on the internet and so on and so forth. So I will see you in episode 2, which will look at doing the single crochet. Okay.